My body is happy, every little cell in my body is well. Hello!
Every little cell in my body is happy and well.
Every little cell in my body is happy and well. Yes, thank you for gathering with us on this really important topic, because we really can either think ourselves sick or we can think ourselves healthy. So do you know about the power of placebo and the nocebo?
Yes. And I've studied placebo for my dissertation as a doctor, and I was one of the first ones to see, as a young medical doctor, the power of placebo, how we can use our mind to create health, wealth, happiness, but most of all, vitality.
You have a really fun story that I want you to share about a guy that was a patient of yours when you were still in, what's it called when you work in the hospitals? Residency, right? And you had this patient who was suffering from insomnia. Would you tell that story?
The one from insomnia?
Yeah, who couldn't sleep, and then you gave him this, right? You remember the story? Okay. Here's a great story. Listen here.
Okay, so I almost forgot this story. Really, really great story. I remember one of my patients came. Actually, it was not my patient. It was someone in the hospital, and he has done everything because he couldn't sleep. He has used pills and everything like that. It was like he was totally, I would say, desperate. And then because I've studied placebo, I told him the following story. I said, listen, a friend of mine is a veterinarian and he works in the zoo. And also there they have elephants that suffer from insomnia.
Who knew?
And I said, I can call him up and figure out if, we can get one of these pills for elephants.
So sleeping pills for elephants.
Yeah. Okay. So, and I said, but I cannot promise anything, but you have to promise me one thing, that if you take these pills, you can only take half. If you take one,
you may go
sleep up and you never wake up. So I called the pharmacy right away, and they said, what is the biggest tablets that you guys have? And
biggest vitamin tablet,
the vitamin tablets they have, and I don't even remember which one it was, but they had a huge big one.
So a nice big pill.
Yeah, a nice big pill. And so I ordered like 30 of those, and I gave it to him, and I put on them, never take more than half, because, that's what. So can you imagine that 2 days later he calls me and he said, this is the most greatest things ever that happened to the first time.
Pill.
Yeah, for the first time in his life, he could sleep all night and so on. And then he asked me, sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night, and I sort of go to sleep so bad that I think, should I take another little piece? But he said, no, I just relax and then I fall asleep again.
So he actually learned how to fall asleep himself.
Absolutely.
Because he fell for the placebo. So that's a really beautiful story for a placebo. But the flip side of that is that we also have something called a nocebo.
Absolutely.
So why don't you tell us beautiful people what a nocebo is?
So nocebo is things like the doctor tells you, okay, you have only 3 months to live, and and they'll say that's what happens, right? So nocebo is then that most patients will then live only 3 months. And there's another beautiful story that I want to share to you that also happens to me when I was in residency. And then there were 2 patients actually with the same name. They were not even lying next to each other, but by some accidents the files
records got switched.
And one had bronchitis and came in because he was coughing and getting phlegm, all that. The other guy was a fanatic smoker, and that he came in for testing for lung cancer, if he had it or not, because he was spitting blood and all of that. So what happened was, because they switched the files, the one with bronchitis got to hear that he had lung cancer.
Oh my God.
And that, he only had 3 months to live. And the other guy was told, it's nothing big.
It's just bronchitis.
You have bronchitis, you're going to get some of the, antibiotics and so on and so on. And then 3 months later, the bronchitis patient died.
No way.
Yeah, he died 3 months later.
That's a really sad story.
But this cancer patient was still alive and he was doing very well. And he came back for another checkup, and his cancer was completely cured.
No way.
Yeah, so the nocebo effect is the opposite of the placebo effect. So that's interesting for people to know. The power of the mind is so incredible.
Right.
And we see that in hypnosis all the time too.
Right.
What happens in hypnosis is that you bypass all the fears of the ego, and you can go straight to the core. And there you can tell people to do things that they normally couldn't do when they're awake and so on. And they can change their lives rapidly on hypnosis as well. Ciao, Ida.
Hi. So I've written down a few facts. Hear them, okay? So, fact. Our cells are always listening.
Yes.
Always listening to our internal and our external dialogue. Is that true, Doctor?
Absolutely, absolutely. What you say to yourself, what you say to others, what is said to you, all have an impact if you don't know how to protect yourself.
Right? So if someone tells us like a negative diagnosis or just a negative judgment, then I like remembering that I always have the choice inside to say, I reject that.
Absolutely. And just for you to see how powerful this is also with children, because children is so important, is that in school, they came in one day and they said to the class that all children with dark eyes, brown eyes like me, they're not the smartest. They have problems with math and stuff like that. But children with bright blue eyes, whatever, they are the smartest. Okay. So what happened within a couple of weeks, the kids with brown eyes or dark eyes, all the numbers went down, and the kids with lighter eyes, the numbers went up. And then he came back after 2 months and said, well, we made a big mistake. It's not the kids with the light colored eyes are the ones that are the smartest, but the ones with brown colored eyes. And again, all things switch around. So children also are very, very sensitive.
Especially susceptible.
Absolutely, to what you tell them. And a child cannot make the difference between behavior and identity. So you have to tell a child, well, the behavior, what are you doing here? I don't like that. But you, as my child, I love you. The kid needs to know the difference between identity and behavior.
So write that down. And when you're giving feedback to your children about their behavior, make sure that you do a sandwich technique, that you tell them, listen, honey, I really love you and I really appreciate how you're doing your best every day to be your awesome self. And I've noticed that you keep leaving your dirty socks all over the place. So I'm wondering what it will take for you to clean those up. And when we give feedback in an empowering way like that, then our children can actually learn without feeling threatened, right?
And especially when they destroy some stuff, you can compliment them for their passion and their energy. You say, well, I love the passion you put into this. And here are the rules. And then you always want to end with something very positive. Say, whatever happens, whatever you do, I will always love you. So that's called the sandwich feedback. So positive, then what can be improved, and then again, something you want to end always with something
So I'm
positive.
wondering, was that ever anything that happened to you in your childhood, that you destroyed something?
Oh, I've been blamed for many things, even things I didn't do.
Okay, I have another fact for us. Okay, you ready for fact number 2? We can be our own placebo or nocebo. So we can do this to ourselves. Do you know that? So here's how we do a nocebo to ourselves. Look, let's show them. That's a nocebo to yourself. Your cells are listening. Your body is listening, and it's noticing, ooh, something's off. The posture's down. We're hunched forward. We're scrunching up our face. We're starting to even maybe get negative thoughts just by doing that. And now let's do a placebo for ourselves. You ready for that?
Yes. Even if you're exaggerating, the brains don't know better.
The brain is going like, oh my God, there must be something amazing going on right now. Right? They are having so much fun. Nice, good, okay? Notice the difference? So this really works. So here's what I wrote down before we started. Repetitive, angry, fearful, or sad thoughts and words create those exact same feelings in the body, right? And then those feelings, because they're the language of the body, create dis-ease, right? You don't feel well.
Yeah, exactly.
And then if you don't listen to that, you might actually create disease, right? So instead, grateful, joyful, appreciative thoughts create a life experience that, guess what, is marked with joy and grace and ease. So Bruce Moseley, remember him? He was a surgeon in Texas, and he has a great example for some placebos too. So he was specialized in knee surgery, and he had a bunch of people coming for knee surgery, and then he did a test. And he had a patient come out for knee surgery, and then he made the incisions where he normally would make incisions when he was doing,
like a normal surgery, right?
Like he normally would when he would perform the surgery.
Cut them open.
And then he would stitch it up again and, you know, take care of the wounds and tell the patient it's done, right?
But he didn't do any corrective surgery to the knee, only open it and closed it.
Totally fake, totally fake. And now, guess what? The ones that had this fake surgery had the same success rates as those who actually had the surgery done.
It's amazing.
Isn't it?
And even to make it even more, they've done the same thing for the heart. People who had, like, the coronary arteries were closed and they had angina pectoris, like feeling really the pain in the heart. They opened the chest, closed the chest without doing anything with the heart. And again, people get well. So just a suggestion to surgery already changes something in you. And the body and the mind will then pretend and do like that real surgery, and you get well. I mean, this is crazy.
So think about that, ponder on that. How could you be more of a placebo to yourself? And then I read some more interesting data. I love data. And this is it. When a doctor and a patient or therapist, right, when they can relate to each other and when they trust each other, the actual consultation, so that time that they spend talking to each other, actually makes up to 70% of the healing.
Wow.
So here's the flip side of that. If you don't relate to your doctor or therapist and you feel that they're treating you like a number and they're not really connecting to you, then you have 2/3 less of a chance of getting well. So the good thing is, when you're meeting someone and you're considering to take them on as a therapist or doctor, then check in with yourself. Be present, you know, is this leaving me with a good feeling, or I don't know, are they saying like fearful stuff that's bringing me down? What were you going to say?
Right, no, I mean, it's so important to have to click with the person who's going to do the healing with you. If that doesn't feel right, however good they are, it's not going to have the same effect. That's very, very important, right?
So, and then even Tony Robbins brings a statistic saying that 80% of what it takes to create success actually is mindset.
Absolutely.
And only 20% is the skill set. Right. So for the surgeon, for instance, it's not that much as important that how good he is in cutting up. More important is what kind of mindset is he bringing to the table. And I feel this is also true for us as patients, right? As the ones receiving, put it that way. We have to show up with the right kind of mindset.
Absolutely. So for example, if you're going to have surgery, it's so important to visualize the desired outcome, to really, really see yourself healing, going through the surgery without any complications, coming out, healing, and so on. Now let's take it one step further. Every pill you take, even if it's a vitamin pill or a normal prescription remedy, every time you take a pill, you know, think for a moment, what is this pill going to do for me? How is this pill going to help me to heal? You visualize it, you bless it, and then you take the pill. And then the effects will be incredible. I've done this with a lot of cancer patients with chemotherapy, and the most amazing effects will happen and 0 side effects. All my cancer patients, the doctors think that they need to increase the chemotherapy because they don't see the side effects. Because they believe. No. They do it, but it doesn't matter but the clients, the patients believe the chemotherapy is good for them. And now you get the positive effects and you get 0 negative effects. So that's important for you.
Simonton did a lot of work on that too, didn't he? So the power of visualization, where you see yourself, where you desire to be, is really, really important on your healing journey. Right. So remember that. Yeah,
there was a Dr. Carl Simonton, who is an oncologist working with cancer patients. What he discovered, that visualization done in a proper way was more powerful than treatments with Röntgen, X-ray, radiation, and chemotherapy. And he stopped as a normal doctor and started a practice only with visualization. Right? That's amazing.
So you can maybe tell that we're kind of freaks on this whole mindset thing, and we just love teaching people how to train their brains, how to get your brain and your mindset on board with you so that you actually get to the goals that you have set for yourself. So that's why we're so passionate about this.
Absolutely. And we're using this, of course, in our own lives, and we would like you to share these tips with your friends, anybody in need, anybody who is now not feeling well or is suffering or, you know, is just desperate. Share this video or these tips with your friends and, you know, inspire them to create more placebo effect in their lives.
And to kind of claim their power back, because it really is a 50-50 thing. If two people work together, it's co-creation. The patient and therapist work together. So we have a beautiful affirmation that we would love to share with you, that we love working with. We breathe with it, we train with it, and it's a great reminder of that mindset to, rather than when you're feeling fearful or maybe angry or upset, to withdraw and pull back, to actually do the opposite, to go out and expand even more. Because when you do that, you break through those self-set limitations of a kind of happiness thermostat that we seem to have inside of us. So all of us, no matter how successful we are, have a sort of upper limit that we can hit. Because part of us might believe that that is all that we are worth, or that is all that is possible. And when we work with this affirmation that we'll share with you in a second, you can actually switch that inside of you. And here, repetition is queen or king.
Absolutely. And it has effect on everybody around you, also to children, because you're sending it out in frequency. So that frequency will change
the energy in the room.
The energy in the room and also in your family.
Okay, are you ready? You want to write this down?
Okay.
Every day, in every way, I enjoy expanding into health, love, success, and abundance, while I inspire those around me to do the same. Now you say it.
Every day, in every way, I expand more into health, love, success, and abundance, and I inspire those around me to do the same.
That's right. Use it in your breath practice. Use it when you're maybe hiking somewhere or cycling somewhere, or you're driving in your car, and remind yourself that you can train your brain. And change is a matter of seconds.
Absolutely.
It's the path towards that decision to make the change that usually takes longest. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely. And when you do this, feel that energy expanding, love, abundance, success, all around. Fill the room with your frequencies, and the impact will be enormous, not only on yourself, but all those with you. And remember, happiness, when you feel it, when you experience it, is a high frequency that is contagious. Just like smiling can be contagious, happiness is also contagious. Just share that.
Remind yourself to do the silly grin.
The silly grin.
Fake it till you feel it.
Be crazy.
That's right. And send your cells and all those parts of you listening that affirmation, that direction that you're going towards. And that is a joyful and easeful and graceful and healthy, beautiful life.
And we need it at these times. Share this video with your friends, because they can use some positive news always in these times.
I think we all can. So,
right.
Thank you so much for joining, and we love you, and we look forward to connecting again with you soon.
See you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.